Hey there, and welcome to September 2019. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and I'm here to do your creativity readings for the month. I just have a couple of quick announcements. First of all, if you are looking to go deeper with your astrological knowledge and you want to explore the potential of working with astrological magic in your personal spiritual practice, I will put the information to Natural Magic School. That's the topic of the month. We're going a lot deeper with it. We're also going to be doing some live streams and just exploring natural magic from an astrological perspective, as well as going into the philosophy of circle casting and working with the four direction. If you're not familiar with Natural Magic School, it is really just a very inexpensive way to support my channel. If you get something useful out of these videos and you want to say thank you, you get access to a ton of extra content every month. So all that information, again, will be below the video. Secondly, I wanted to let you know about the tanks that I'm wearing this month. I'm super excited to be partnered with Hannah Stone, who reached out to me. I was so excited to partner with her for this month's videos. She creates this whole line of astrological, constellation-based and crystal-based designs with her clothes, and her fabric that she uses is so freaking comfortable. Everything that she has, I think, is somewhat reversible, so you can wear it in different ways to create different necklines and just fun stuff. So I wanted to give her a little shout out and let you know that she's offering free shipping for anybody who watches this and wants to purchase something from her shop, which is super generous. So I will put all of her information below. I just really related to her mission. She's working to empower women. She employs adults who earn fair wages in Canada. I absolutely love her mission. I feel like she is just a really awesome creative person, and I'm really excited to be wearing her stuff this month. So if you're interested in that, I will put the information and the free shipping link to her shop below. Okay guys, let's get into your readings without any further ado. Okay, Scorpio, let's go ahead and get into your September reading. As I was tuning into your energy for this month, I was given a very interesting impression of two individuals, and this feels like you specifically and one other person. So this could be a month in September where you are maybe joining forces with someone. It could be an important month for the inception of a new relationship in your life, whether that be romantic or business or even just a really close friendship. But there's an energy of someone around you having your back. That was the first thing that came through, and really just a feeling of intimacy coming in for you this month. So this will be really interesting to take a look at your tarot cards and see what else wants to come through on that. The second thing that I was feeling was actually just a lot of pent up energy within your physical body. I don't know if you have been holding back from saying something that you wanted to say, Scorpio, or if you haven't been getting enough exercise, for example, but they were kind of giving me this continuous feeling of like internal pressure building up. But I feel like in September, and especially later in the month, and as we move into Libra season as well, I feel that there's going to be a really powerful release of that inner pressure, and you are going to be met with an intense sensation that I can only describe as clarity, like an intense realization of clarity that has been percolating within you, causing, for example, if you have been in kind of a very pressurized emotional internal state recently, it's like the pressure is building and building. Part of that pressure is that you don't know exactly what it means or exactly kind of how things are going to proceed. I think that's been one of the factors that has made this kind of buildup of energy more uncomfortable for some of you, because you are aware that some of where this is going is unknown for you. And I feel like you're going to get that clarity as you kind of allow maybe that pressure to build up a little bit more, but then it's going to kind of turn a corner. I mean, for some of you, it could feel like a combustion of sorts, but overall I feel like this is actually going to be a very pleasurable and positive experience, because like this energy has been building up within you and it's needed some kind of release. So it could be like a creative, for example, an idea that comes to you that you commit to at some point, either in September or the early part of October, that once you kind of lock into that vision, then everything else kind of takes a much more gentler approach to you, because you are more focused and your internal energies are not just building and building and building anymore. They're being channeled into something that feels very direct and very forward moving. So there's just this sense of this being a really powerful time for you, and at the same time you're going to need to monitor and manage your own internal emotional state and continue to do that for a little while longer. So that's what I'm getting for you, Scorpios. Let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. Scorpio. Okay, that was that. Okay, so we're going to take a look at your cards for the month with the Centennial Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and we're also going to get a sense of kind of the path that you're on and any obstacles or influences using the Animal Spirit Oracle, your Animal Spirit Guides for the month. Okay, Scorpio. Okay, so let's take a look. Oh my gosh, we have Vulture. That is so spooky. Because I was actually, and I didn't say anything, but I was feeling the energy of a vulture earlier. So I wasn't sure if it was a message for you guys though. So that's really, really beautiful. It's really interesting also to see the visual darkness of these cards. There's something very shamanic about these images and how they're coming up together. We have a very clear symbolism here of the cycle of death and rebirth, which is something that Scorpios are definitely very familiar with and very comfortable with as far as archetypal kind of energy patterns go. You are the sign that most readily endures and transforms, endures these transformations and is willing to kind of go through that process essentially. So that is why the snake is sometimes associated with the archetype of Scorpio, is the symbolic fact that the snake sheds its skin, and Scorpio is a sign that is known to kind of undergo these kinds of transformations, and really releasing and sloughing off anything that is no longer authentic is something that a Scorpio is pretty good at doing, and will actually, I have to say, be quite merciless in that process with themselves. That's something that I've noticed in myself and also in other Scorpios that I've been close with, is once you realize that something isn't working for you anymore and you have that deep awareness within your psyche, within your subconscious, you're getting those signs and signals that it's not working, something in particular isn't working for you anymore, you're not afraid to destroy something about yourself in order to create the next chapter, in order to create something new. That is something that is very inherently wise, I think, about the Scorpio archetype. Even though you are a fixed sign, you have this tremendous ability to sort of transform from the inside out. So when you become aware of a negative pattern or a negative habit or something that's getting you out of balance, and you really know that in your deepest part of yourself to be a problem, you will make that transition, and you'll do it in a very powerful and very kind of like full force kind of way. And so I see that with the vulture as the path energy. There is this sense of release, of letting go and shedding layers. So some of you may be realizing that you need to shift out of something in your life, whether that be a job situation, a relationship, even a creative project that you've been working on. You may feel like you need to put it on hold and pick up something else. You might be, if you're a very creative Scorpio, you might have a multitude of little projects that you work on from time to time, and you've been nearing the completion of one of them, and you just intuitively know that you need to kind of put the finishing touches on this and then put it aside, let it percolate, let it sit, and give yourself some space from it in order to allow that energy to kind of sit. I really feel like that is something that is coming through strongly, is like, let something sit, Scorpio, let something brew, let go of it possibly. And I don't mean literally let go of it as in give up on a dream or anything like that, but it's like sometimes in the pursuit of a large goal, there's a spiritual component to that process that requires us to surrender and requires us to accept. For example, I've had a yoga teacher for many years who during the beginning of her process of, opening up to teaching yoga, she had been teaching for probably 5 years, and she became incredibly sick. And one of the stories that I've often heard her tell is that there was a point during that process where she was getting worse and worse and worse, that she just had to have this moment with herself to say, you know what? I'm going to let this go. I'm not going to force this. Like, I'm not going to force myself to keep trying to do all of this work, like this physical work, when my body's not letting me. I have to spiritually let this go. And she entered into like a state of acceptance about it. And of course, she got better. And gradually, over a period of a few months, she started to get better. And then she, her business completely transformed after that point. But she had to go through that process of letting go of her own attachment, I guess, to the timeline, her own attachment to the way that she thought it needed to be. And then in that process, new and amazing opportunities that she never would have dreamed up for herself ended up coming in as she was undergoing her healing process and as the door kind of opened back up for her. So just to give an example of a real life person that I know who's had this going on, it's something that I feel that is an important part of a Scorpio's process in particular. Because you are, in terms of your traditional rulership, it's Pluto, and Pluto is a planet that can be associated with obsession and strong desire. And when we don't have we have that strong Plutonian energy in our personality and in our sort of wavelength, but we don't know exactly what we want or how we want to make things happen. Sometimes that can almost become like it can have its own magnetism in a way. That aspect of your personality, Scorpio, can draw in and be very magnetic, and it can cause some emotional intensity and some intensity just in your relationships with others in your life that may not necessarily always be the most positive energy to be working with. So sometimes just that allowance and that acceptance and stepping into that place, even just in a moment. I'm not saying you need to let go of something forever or that it needs to be perfect, but just in this moment, taking a breath and accepting whatever it is that you don't have control over, or whatever it is that you feel you need to give space to in your life. Sometimes that's all it takes, is just a single moment of finding that peace within yourself is enough to realign the outer and inner energies that you have kind of around you and within you, to make something shift in a way that brings in a different force, I'll say, like a different force of magnetism that you have, because that's how Scorpios manifest, really, is through magnetism. It's a very yin sign. So recognize the power of your own energy field and your own desire nature, and then stepping into that acceptance. And with the snake card, there is a rebirth going on here. So if you're a Scorpio that has felt a little bit kind of uncertain, like where you're going at this point in your life, or if you're a Scorpio that's been wondering, like, what am I becoming, you know, the snake card coming up here as an influence is really reaffirming to you and giving you sort of permission, I feel, to embrace that process of shedding layers, embrace that process of entering into the unknown, and not need to know everything, not need to know kind of where this is going, but really follow your instinct and really put stock in your instinct and in your kind of trust within your own soul. I think Scorpios are one of the deepest signs, but there can be such a tendency within them, if they're not completely, you know, solid in their own beliefs and in their own path, there can be a tendency to forget the incredible depth that you have and forget some of the gems that you hold in your own soul, Scorpio. And when you get out of that mindset of really trusting your spirit or trusting your own soul and believing that things of value will come from your own soul, will come from your own inner life, that's when we get confused. So the message is really just to trust that, trust the process, and be in a state of acceptance as much as you can. So yeah, we have the Two of Pentacles, Two of Cups. See, just like I was seeing in the meditation, the energy of a partner or a partnership coming through strongly with that Two of Cups. We have the Hermit, the Three of Wands, the Temperance card, and the Ace of Swords. So, Scorpio, as I'm looking at these tarot cards in particular, we are getting that theme of duality coming through right as we go into the month of September. The Two of Pentacles could suggest for some of you a feeling of ambivalence or uncertainty. Perhaps it is about a relationship because you have the Two of Cups here. So you may be feeling like you're not sure if a particular relationship in your life is actually balanced and fair to you. And this could be kind of throwing you off. And so what I want to say here, Scorpio, is like, if you're getting any advice from friends, and I just want to add too that I'm not necessarily seeing these cards as like week by week in this particular instance until we get later into the month, but right here I feel like this whole row is speaking to something that's going on for Scorpios at this time, and it spans the whole month. It's something that you are grappling with, and the thing that you might be grappling with is whether or not to really be vulnerable within a relationship, or whether or not you can absolutely trust like the fairness of a relationship in your life. I'm not sure if the questioning and the back and forth is coming from like a valid something valid, like something like your intuition perhaps, or paying attention to how another person has been behaving and being kind of practical in that way. Like, okay, if they treat someone else negatively, then they might treat me negatively, that kind of line of thinking. Or if it's because you yourself are kind of in a paramount way, you find it difficult to trust and like open up and be vulnerable. But I can see that there's some back and forth here. There's some back and forth because we have the Two of Pentacles with the Two of Cups, and we have Justice, which also is being card 11. It's 1-1, you know? So even that, even though it's not a 2 card, it has that duality energy. And then we have the Seven of Cups, which is, you know, about feeling confused, genuinely. But the feeling I get is actually that there is something good. I don't know if this is about like a particular relationship in your life, but I feel like there is something good here for you to kind of listen to within yourself, because the remedy for this is kind of shown in the bottom cards, where we have the Hermit and the Temperance card with the Three of Wands and the Ace of Swords. It's saying that you really need to go within for that guidance. Now, you could have the most well-meaning friends, for example, that might be giving you advice on the situation. If it is, for example, a relationship, like a romantic partnership, maybe you have a friend who's saying, oh, that's not fair, or that's not good, or, oh, Scorpio, you shouldn't acquiesce to that, or you should demand more. People might be kind of giving you well-meaning advice, and there may be a part of you that kind of agrees with them, but at the same time, this is your life, this is your situation, and I feel that there's something in here that's kind of shaking you off because you're paying too much attention to what people on the outside are doing. For example, the person that you may be in a relationship or an important business relationship with, or a friendship with, you might be paying too much attention to like what they're doing and wondering what they think and what they think about you and all of that. You could also be at the same time paying too much heed to what your friends are thinking or what other people might be thinking. And if this isn't about a relationship, it could have to do with your creative self-expression, because the cup cards can definitely relate to your profession or your creativity if it is in sort of the realm of the cups, which would be like art or healing or anything sort of more right brain and creative can be shown with the cups energy. So in a lot of ways, I feel like for Scorpios, what's going on right now is that there has been too much influence from the outside world. And I feel like you are in this position where you know that you're doing this inside. You know that you're kind of measuring too much of your success or measuring too much of what you feel is appropriate about yourself or what you value about yourself. You've gotten into maybe a slight habit of measuring that by outside standards, which is really not helpful. And it is also not accurate, because even, for example, the light of the sun as it's reflected on a full moon, the full moon doesn't look like the sun, it's just a reflection, but the moon has its own form of light that it gives off. It has its own kind of way of reflecting that light. And similarly, if you are offering something to the world and you're getting some type of feedback from other people, or if you're offering yourself in a relationship and you're getting a certain type of feedback, you have to really be cautious about not taking that feedback too much to heart. Ultimately, you, Scorpio, need to be the judge of your own value and give yourself that power and that control within your own life. I almost feel like my third chakra is kind of like strengthening right now as I'm saying this, because it's sort of something that really does strengthen you, and it strengthens that part of your energetic body and even your physical body as well, because you stand up straighter. So there's just this sense of really kind of extricating yourself, and I know it's hard because a lot of times there are things that we do need to genuinely have collaboration with people on, and there are things that we need to really be considerate of, especially, for example, if you're a Scorpio that has maybe like a local business and you have customers coming in all of the time, and you know their faces and you know kind of like their stories and you know what they like to purchase from you. If you want to take your business in a different direction, for example, you may need to ultimately kind of weigh the pros and cons of everything, but then really let the deciding factor be your inner voice. Let it be the hermit within you. Don't let your deciding factor in any part of your life, whether it be romance, business, profession, creativity, with your children, even, how you parent, whatever part of your life is the most important to you right now, you need to be speaking or taking action from a place of strength and from a place of self-respect, and that is going to be the thing that will really carry you through any changes that you may need to make, especially because we did see the vulture as the path. So it's like you are possibly, like I said before, letting go of something, and at the same time you are giving yourself permission to do that, perhaps even if nobody else is going to be able to really validate that. Maybe your most kind of staunch supporters in your personal life, like the people very, very close to you that have always kind of had your back, they may not understand what you're doing. They may still have your back, but they may kind of express some doubts, or they may be I do feel that you have somebody on your side, though. That's the thing, is I do feel that you have someone, at least one person, who really gets what you are trying to accomplish and what matters to you and what's important to you. And maybe this month is going to be about spending more time with that person and developing that relationship and not needing any validation from that person or from anyone else, but finding that you get the most productive and helpful influence from that particular relationship. So it may not be something that has the most kind of broad appeal, whatever it is that you're trying to do right now, Scorpio, but it will. That's the message, is it will. It will come. It will work. It will be something that you can expand on in the future, but it's a long-term process for you, Scorpio. It's something that is going to require practical steps with the Three of Wands and the Temperance card. This is also about really being patient with the journey that you're on, Scorpio, being patient with where you find yourself at this point, being willing to undergo the personal alchemy that is indicated by these cards, which is taking you to new places, stretching, being flexible, being open-hearted. Sometimes that is genuinely hard for a Scorpio because you're so sensitive, but there is a lot to be gained here, and I feel like ultimately, with the month ending on the Ace of Swords, you are working up towards a victory, but it's a victory that comes through integrity and solidarity with self. That's really what the Ace of Swords, that's the deeper meaning of this card for me, is it's victory, but it's a victory through like integrity and solidarity with self. You are winning at life in some way because you're honest with yourself, because you're clear with yourself, because you're not bullshitting anything with you. You know, you're in your own, like, it starts with you. It always starts with you. So having integrity with yourself means that you're going to have integrity everywhere else in your life. So there's definitely a sense of like cleaning house in a way with these cards, with the Vulture and the Ace of Swords, because the Vulture can represent like letting go of things that are no longer serving, letting go of things that have overstayed their welcome, or that are no longer kind of a pure real love for you, a pure interest for you. And then the Ace of Swords comes in and just seconds that. It is about kind of cutting away anything that is no longer right for you. And I feel like that is really giving you a lot of power right now in a very personal way. It's helping you to clear your head. It's helping to give you permission to do things the way that you want to do them. So I really like what I'm seeing here. I feel like you are going to actually thrive under this energy. For a different sign, this reading might almost have the superficial kind of appearance of seeming more difficult, but I actually think for a Scorpio, like Scorpios almost crave this. Like Scorpios are very much all about going through transformations in order to kind of rise from the ashes like the phoenix, and all the better when you can do it with the help of someone, at least one person who's close with you, who is loyal to you and who you are loyal to, and who really has your back as you go through this. I really feel that energy around you, Scorpio. So that's actually really nice because you have that. Now I wanted to look at a relationship spread. I am using the Lenormand, Pixie's Astounding Lenormand. So I'm not reading traditional Lenormand here. I am reading more intuitively, but I am using the Lenormand deck. Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Let's get your Bob Ross message and your Soul Trees Oracle. Okay, Scorpio. We've got inspiration, and and from Bob Ross it says, anything we don't like, we'll turn it into a happy little tree or something. So again, we have that sense of kind of with inspiration on this too. It's like repainting your life, repainting so that you can have more of what you want, essentially. So we have crossroads, the ship, and the fish. We've got the house, the clover, the stars. We've got the birds, the stork, and the sky as a descriptive card. We've got the moon, the bear, and the key. Your energy in regards to a relationship, the mice, and the bouquet. Which is actually really funny. I'm excited to interpret that one for you. And we have the book and the dog and the other person's energy. Oh, love it. It really matches up with what we were seeing actually throughout this entire reading. That I love seeing that because it really confirms there is somebody who is going to be important for you right now at this time in your life, Scorpio, who you can rely on and who does have your back. So I'm really excited to go deeper into this. Let's take a look at your bottom of the deck card is actually your card if you're a Sun in Scorpio, Six of Cups. And I will also be analyzing the Pisces full moon on the 13th, on Friday the 13th, for you guys and what that energy may be impacting for you on a general scale just for Scorpios in the extended reading. So I'll put that information below the video. I hope that you've had an awesome month so far in August, Scorpio. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing month ahead in September. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. All those things really help my channel, and they really help me to know that these readings are helpful to you. So thank you so much for being here. I will also put the information for Natural Magic School below the video as well. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope you have an amazing month. Bye, Scorpio.